Welcome, age of vintage society. Talent is indeed a gift to humanity which does not differentiate between male and female. It is not about who she is or what you think she is in the entertainment scene. The fact is, once upon a time, a unique comedienne took charge of the airwaves in the person of Eve Arden, the woman who used radio comic to give a voice to the pride of womanhood. This legendary on-air radio and TV personality, known for her strong and smart presentation, is perhaps the Iron Lady of Golden Age radio comedy, the tart-tongued schoolteacher that taught society the real lesson with fun. Why Eve Arden found it difficult to please men. As you all know how much I appreciate you, my viewers, so I want to thank you for your generous comments and for the Patreons. This video would not have been possible without you, and thanks to those who watched the video right to the end. Subscribe if you are new here, and if you want to support my work, please visit my Patreon page. Eve Arden, the funny Connie Brooks who influenced generations with comedy. She was great, historic, and peculiar in her style of entertainment. This tough California girl played her role to perfection. Some say she was so determined to function without the supervision of a man. Eve Arden, with her special vocal power, seemed to be in the minds of inventors when they invented the radio medium. Several years down the line, the industry is still searching for her type. Critics say she is one of the rare talents that was born to blaze the trail, as she was able to inspire her generation within the 1940s, most unforgettable for her on-air role as Connie Brooks. She depicted the class of women who highly intimidated men with their self-confidence, hilarious and not given to flattery or tameness nature. For those still thinking of what it felt like to listen to Eve, fans say she spent her life as a robust independent career woman that showed wised-up but amiable women of her era. As one writer stated, the Eve Arden type has a lineage much like the Clark Gable type. Eve was arguably the only movie actress who got key success in sitcom television. She needed no special training to be able to captivate her audience or penetrate their conscious mind, because the thing is in her. She is almost everyone's comedian of choice, as she charmed her radio, TV and film audiences with her energetic comedy. Did I hear you say something about her physique? Standing 5'7", Eve was neither too tall nor short, but one who was massively endowed with an intimidating presence and an amazing body build, big-boned with a voice less mannish but waxing. Growing up was fun as I watched older women try to be like Eve Arden. No doubt Arden was gorgeous and fascinating in her roles. A friend once told how she taught Arden represented the sophisticated women of that generation, apparently making forceful efforts to look attractive with brutal makeup and costume jewellery, which will remind you of the older generation of teachers. Eve's influence as a steamroller working-class beauty made her a leading woman and a celeb as far back as the 1930s. Those in the know say her brilliance began at an early age, especially her wit, which distinguished her from her Hollywood counterparts. Starting as a stock player from high school before her film debut, Eve established her superiority on Broadway and the radio, where she built her trademark as a tart-tongued comedienne. Whether you think of her as your Connie Brooks legend or Principal McGee, no one can take away the fact that Eve's success in entertainment is tied to her characterization as an educationist. The word Eve and Arden was just a minor vocabulary until she acquired them as her identity. She once explained how she was told by producer Lee Schubert to change her birth name, Eunice Cudens, if she wanted to be a showgirl in his Ziegfeld Follies of 1934. It was one challenge too many for this funny lady as she began to study the labels of cosmetic containers on her dressing stand in search of a suitable name. In her words, "I stole my first name from Evening in Paris," the heroine in a book she read at the time, and the second name from Elizabeth Arden, a package of cosmetics within sight. That was how humanity left behind Eunice Mary Cudens, who was born on the 30th of April 1908 in Mill Valley, California, to follow their true-to-life icon Eve Arden. Not even Charles Peter Cudens and Lucille Frank, her parents, could understand the joy they brought to humanity through Eve, Otherwise they would not have divorced when they did, because of a mere gambling habit that Lucille, a milliner, gave as a reason for leaving Charles, her husband. About 2 years after she was born, the duo separated. Lucille Cudens, who had a brief career as an actress herself, probably to make ends meet, later taught drama to kids and operated her millinery shop. At the age of 7, Arden was packaged to live in the Dominican convent, but she later moved in with her father's sister, Aunt Elsie, even as she remained in contact with her mother, who, after making enough money for herself, purchased an area and built her own house. Young Arden attended a cultured Catholic school, Dominican convent, in San Rafael, California, before proceeding to Tamalpay High School in Mill Valley, where she got the basic skills and possibly some inspiration that made her persona. In high school she was active in drama production and did not hesitate on graduation to join a group that will enhance her dream. Finishing at the age of 16 and already nursing ideas in the entertainment industry, Eve fixed herself with Henry Duffy's stock theatre group so she could start her career. Then as a teenager her activities may have been limited, even though her ambition was high. At the age of 21 she was selected for her film debut, the musical Song of Love. Then she was still using her real name and showing as a jesting, home-spoiling showgirl rivaling singer Belle Baker. The film is still seen as one of Columbia Pictures' initial film successes. Soon her ambition took her to New York City, where she played a supporting actor in several Broadway stage creations, before being cast in Ziegfeld Follies Revue, where she was convinced to discard her interesting name for a more cosmetic Eve Arden that was used in the production. Her career gathers momentum when she returned to Hollywood in 1937 and signed a contract with RKO Radio Pictures. She started with a small role in Oh Doctor and Stage Door, where she was used as a fast-talking and funny supporting character. Arden so impressed directors that she gained larger attention that positioned her for future roles that year. Fans still remember the musicals Coconut Grove and Having a Wonderful Time in 1938. A time her career started gaining wider attention, and so the following year Arden appeared in about 7 movies like The Marx Brothers at the Circus and intermittently doing her Broadway shows, all through to 1941 when she appeared in Two for the Show with Betty Hutton and Keenan Wynn. It was her performance in a supporting capacity as Joan Crawford's wisecracking buddy in Mildred Pierce in 1945 that, however, got her closer to an award, as she got her first Oscar nomination as Best Supporting Actress. This outstanding outing, and the one she puts up as James Stewart's reflective secretary in Otto Preminger's Anatomy of a Murder, which also featured Brooks West, her husband, made exhibitors place her as the 6th most talented star of tomorrow. But Arden's clever and funny delivery is one area that she stood out as raw material for the radio audience. Very few know about the residue of fun in Arden until she began her best respected performance as Madison High School English teacher Connie Brooks in Our Miss Brooks. The character stole the radio shows and dominated the air frequency between 1948 and 1957, running simultaneously with the TV version, plus its 1956 characteristic film. Thousands of home viewers were kept in suspense as her character conflicted with Osgood Conklin, the school's principal, that was represented by Gail Gordon. Among the few intrigues was her nurtured but unreciprocated love for a colleague, Philip Boynton, initially acted by Jeff Chandler before Robert Rockwell took over the radio and TV version. The true concept of the narrative is that of an ancient maid who lusts after a handsome male colleague. Eve made it an unusual schoolteacher pigeonhole of a repulsive old brag who finds it difficult to please a man. Eve's creativity was so popular that everyone, including those in the teaching profession, began to imagine and equally identified with her. Soon after, she was given an honorary member of the National Education Association, plus an award from the Teachers College of Connecticut's Alumni Association in 1952 for what they think helped to humanize the American teacher. Did she also receive teaching job offers? You can't tell the extent a talent can take one, though Eve did not take any teaching work offered to her. She was said to have spoken in several PTA meetings and made visits to different schools. Her radio character appeared more like instinct in the way she land and linger before delivering her angry reply. TV viewers are equally impressed with those stunning, pale and ruthless eyes, and so her wisecracking, unsmiling display gave her a ticket to stardom as a choice comedienne. Arden also wrote about how she began this journey in the spring of 1937 when she was given her first film, Universal's Oh Doctor. She said that immediately after she auditioned, she learned she would be competing alongside Katharine Hepburn, Gail Patrick, Ginger Rogers, Andrea Leeds, Lucille Ball and Ann Miller. She recalls that director Gregory LaCava, who was remarkable for improving scenes on the set, did warn her specifically that though he preferred and opted to use her, he had not decided on a role for her. It was a bit tricky for her because they mutually agreed to contract her for a couple of weeks, meaning that if they didn't like her performance, it would be as easy as ABCD to let her go, with no hard feelings. Then on the first day of the rehearsal, Arden explained that everyone had assembled and papers containing lines were distributed to actors. Lines 1, 2, 3 and so on were tossed to us like bones to puppies. I had immediately spotted 2 lines I was drooling over, she said, but she soon discovered that the part was not for her. But as the reading commenced properly, some of the lines met an unusual silence as no one wanted to do it. It kind of angered her, prompting her to voice out bravely, "If no one wants this, I'll take it," adding that after reading it the atmosphere was filled with laughter before Katharine Hepburn said, "She's the one to watch out for, girls." The following day Arden came on set with her cat Henry as a prop. In a particular scene she was to shell peanuts, but she could not do that with the cat in one hand, so she wrapped Henry around her neck, and her persona was instantly identified. A listeners' survey conducted by Radio Mirror magazine placed Eve number 1 top-ranking comedienne between 1948 and 1949. At the award presentation, Eve did not fail to exhibit what she is known for when she released a funny comment in front of her audience. "I'm going to try in the coming months to merit the honour you've bestowed on me, because I understand that if I win this award 2 years in a row, I'll get Mr. Boynton," she had said humorously. What the early age group of film-goers experienced at this time is what the later generation also felt in her talent when in 1978 she performed as Principal McGee in Grease. Arden met and married Edward Bergen, a literary agent, in 1939. The two lived happily for about 6 years, a period that Arden was doing all she could to conceive to no avail. Since she was not able to conceive, she opted for adoption, which gave her a daughter, Lisa, and later went on to adopt another, Connie, 3 years after. But by then she was already a single mother because her marriage with Bergen was over. A few years later, while working in Ruth Gordon's drama Over 21 in summer stock, Arden had an encounter with actor Brooks West. They began a relationship and later married in 1952. After their marriage, Eve, who already thought that childbirth was over with her, went on to adopt her third child, this time a boy named Duncan, only for her to become pregnant and had Douglas Brooks West, who is now her youngest child of 4 children. She gave birth at the age of 46. In spite of West's struggles with drinking the union endured, Arden was on a journey when she learned that her husband fell into a coma that he never improved on. He gave up the ghost in 1984. Eve was reported to have dated Danny Kaye for many years. The two were said to have met during a Broadway job on Let's Face It in 1941. Their relationship was both professional and personal, as they soon commenced romantic affairs off the screen. Recall that she became a regular on his radio program and equally played in his movie The Kid from Brooklyn. Even though the two were married to different personalities, Kaye and Arden were said to have continued their friendship, which was also kept discreetly secret. There were rumours that when Arden's husband came back from World War in 1946, Eve had asked for a divorce, with the hope that Kaye would do the same with his wife, so the two can marry. But when that did not happen after divorcing her husband, she was not happy, and it subsequently severed their relationship. It also affected their collaboration, so it was a double portion for Eve, as it ended with Kaye both on and off the stage. It was not a pleasant one for her, though. She was able to move on. That was the time she adopted her second daughter, As one writer suggested, Eve Arden was too smart and too tough to be knocked down by life, which was why she quickly left behind the incident and went on to become a classic superstar of all time. Eve kept different pet animals like lambs, goats, a pinto horse, and a donkey she referred to as Molly B, and may have lived a contented life on her 38-acre ranch in Hidden Valley on the outskirts of Los Angeles. Eve Arden died 6 years after her husband's death on the 12th of November 1990 at her home when she turned 82, as a result of a cardiac arrest and arteriosclerosis. Katharine Hepburn had to warn Hollywood about Eve Arden, had good instinct about talented people. What was between Christopher Reeve and Katharine Hepburn? Let's find out.